Could it be that the very moment that XRP starts to do its moonshot, do its God candle, do the thing that we've been waiting for, that actually marks the moment when the exchanges start to delist? I know many of you are thinking, Lewis, how can you dare think about this stuff? Like, why are you saying that? Don't add this to the mix. Well, I think it's a really important consideration to have. If you truly understand what XRP is and what Ripple is doing, you'll understand why I believe there's a 35% chance that all the exchanges delist XRP the moment that it skyrockets. Just a quick break in the video, I want to tell you about this thing that's launching on the 9th of June. Nothing is more fun in crypto than speculating on the price of an asset. Well, I'm bringing that into a game format with maybe even some cash prizes. I want to introduce you to predictorsofcrypto.com. Predictorsofcrypto.com is a project I've started. It's not anyone else's. I've made this. This is mine. Where you can come in and absolutely free participate in prediction markets. So for example, a prediction market might be XRP's price by the end of June 2025. Everyone, it's free to use. You kind of make your guess, kind of like fantasy football in a way. You make your prediction, and once the time runs out, you'll actually be able to see on a leaderboard who was the closest prediction out of everyone. If you participate in enough prediction markets, you'll actually end up getting a POC score. And that POC score basically ranks you in the world among all the users as to who's the best predictor of crypto. Did I say it's going to be free to use? It's free to use. So whether you're trying to build up your credibility or even see the top creators and how good they are at predicting, you're going to want to pay attention on June the 9th to when we drop predictorsofcrypto.com. And we're even going to launch with 1, 2, or maybe even 3 prediction markets with prize money. The closest prediction actually wins cash. Did I mention again that it's free to use? I'm talking about free to enter, but you can still win some money. It's going to launch very soon, so if you're interested in participating in the launch event of all of this and participating in our first prediction markets, register using the link in the description. I'll add you to the waitlist, and I'll send you an email when this thing launches. It's going to be so much fun, and it's going to be completely free. Did I say that? Back to the video. So XRP in and of itself is basically a software. At least that's how kind of Ripple are portraying XRP and the XRP ledger. They're not coming out to businesses and saying, hey, we are a crypto company and we're going to operate everything using our token XRP. They're not doing that when they go out to the companies to build up business. What they are doing is saying, we've got this system, this software that you can use to transfer money seamlessly, cost, very fast, very cheap, and we can do it all for you. That's how they're pitching it to their clients, because there's 2 games that are happening right now. There's the speculation game, that's you and I investing in these assets for the potential upside. And then there's the other side of XRP, which is just, efficiency. And you can also break this down. The efficiency is on the corporation side, the enterprise side. The businesses want efficiency. We want speculation. We want the growth of the asset. And so XRP has always had this kind of duality of life. It struggles with the conflict between those two. I tend to think that the enterprise offering as a software is more compelling than our argument that says XRP should go up because it's useful. Let me just cut to the chase. I think there's a moment in which XRP is no longer treated as a speculative asset and is just treated as a software. And due to that transition, the hodlers, you and I, we make our money because the price grows to a point where it becomes stable. But after it becomes stable, it now becomes efficient, right? So it's done its speculation, then it becomes efficient. And considering the enterprises, the financial institutions, all they want is efficiency from these assets. They want to stop losing money. They want to do things more reliably. Obviously, there's going to be a moment where the best technology wins. And I think Ripple, XRP, the XRPL, that will be a winning moment for that. A natural selection moment, if you will, in technology. But the moment it moves into an efficient space, an efficiency space, the gains from speculative investing in XRP will be gone. What happens when speculative investing is gone? Because there's not enough spread. You can kind of treat it as like the euro and the pound, right? When people trade currencies, there's not much of a spread. There's not much volatility. Certainly nothing compared to what we're used to today. In that environment, I want you to think about this. Sometimes exchanges will delist assets, and they delist assets for a variety of reasons. We saw this with XRP in the past when the SEC filed that lawsuit. Coinbase, Binance US, they delisted XRP. That was out of kind of regulatory or legal fear. They did that. That's one of the reasons why you would delist. Other reasons are like shady founders and malpractice or kind of wrongdoing. That's another reason why they might delist. But one reason that nobody talks about is that exchanges will delist assets that simply don't have enough trading volume, because when there's not enough trading volume, it costs the exchange in all these kind of regulations, the upkeep of these things, AML, all kinds of stuff. It costs the exchanges more than they make from the trades that are happening in that market. So I want to pose something to you. If you've got your XRP and the price goes way up and it's now stable, there's no more money to be made in trading XRP, really. Like, there's not much in it anymore. It's more stable. You have to admit that it changes from a speculation asset that no one's going to participate in that, because there's no gains in there anymore. They're going to go off to other altcoins and find other opportunities because XRP's done its thing now. So it becomes an efficiency play. And because it's no longer traded, and the trading volume would be down to such a degree, exchanges will just delist it and they think, oh, XRP, there's not much movement in it anymore. We're not going to highlight it as a primary market in our thing. It's really just a software anyway. It's going to transition. It's going to transition to that point where the banks are just using it as a software. Of course, they understand that they're using crypto and blockchain, but it's not because it's crypto and blockchain. It's just because it's better. And so you get this environment where there's no trading volume. The exchanges delist, and everyone holding onto their XRP is participating in a market that's actually happening behind closed doors. Currently, 50% of all the volume on the XRPL is done OTC, over the counter. This is in private, behind closed doors trades. If you see that number go to 85%, delisting is going to happen, because it's at the point where this is where businesses and enterprises and financial institutions are using XRP in the background behind closed doors using OTC, like they're using Liquidity Hub from Ripple, but for example. So these aren't speculative environments. They're not trading XRP. The speculation environment is non-existent because there's not enough volatility for anyone to participate in XRP. So they delist it, and it just becomes a backroom software, like a middleman software for banks to send their payments. I don't think that's a far stretch. And so when I look at the progress of XRP and what I believe will happen in the future, and I try to put a number on that, like I said earlier, I think it's about a 35% chance that XRP is completely delisted by 2030. Across all platforms. And I think there's probably about a 50-60% chance that trading volume will be fractional versus what it is today. Speculative trading volume will be a fraction of today. So trading activity on XRP will be so minimal because the price is just flat. The price just doesn't move because it's now moved into an efficiency asset. No one sees the value in the asset by trading it anymore. It's now just a utility. It's doing its thing. It's what we wanted, right? The big question is, where is that price? Where does the price go up and level out? That's essentially the big question here. And I don't have the answer for that. I'm getting a load of brainwaves recently about predicting the future and what's coming. I've had a whole load of brainwaves about AI. I would love to share those with you at some point. But I think we are operating in a limited window of time. And XRP is going to be tradable and volatile for a very short period of time in the scheme of things. And I just think at some point it will no longer be traded. Well, I don't know if that's just low trading volume, meaning less appeal, or whether there's so little trading volume that it costs more for the exchanges to keep them open. So they might as well just delist them because they're not getting any money from it. I actually think that's going to happen. I think that's a reality that we have to kind of look forward to. And so what do you do about that right now? I think what you should be doing is you need to have self-custody of your assets. Don't have your assets on exchanges. I think you should have one OTC, over-the-counter account with a business. I use Caleb and Brown for that kind of stuff. The link is in the description if you're interested, because that's going to be your way to off-ramp the assets or use the assets in a meaningful way, even when they're not being traded on exchanges. So have one OTC account. I recommend Caleb and Brown, and have self-custody of your assets as well. That might mean decentralized wallets or even just cold storage. And I'd love to know what your thoughts are on all of this. Do you think this is actually a reality? If you do think that's a reality, what's your percentage? What do you think the chances are that will happen? Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this, share it with someone who also might find it interesting. Share it around with all your friends and all your groups. Thank you very much. Stay emotionless. I'll see you in the next one.